Hey everyone, my name is Elliot. I'm a 30-year-old non-binary trans man. I am 4 years out as Elliot and 2 years on testosterone. And this is my video vlog. If you would like to find me on YouTube, you can check out my channel, or you can check me out on my written blog, which is ftmfrost.com. Today, I would like to talk a little bit about some of the privilege that I have gained passing as a man in public, and some of the privilege I have even gained among people who knew me before I began to transition. I would like to make note that I did not gain these privileges simply by saying my name was Elliot and using he, his pronouns. These privileges came my way as I began to physically pass as a cis man. I was skeptical about the amount of privilege that folks spoke of that men hold over women and men hold over non-binary people or agender people or gender variant folk. I didn't expect it to be as noticeable and as extreme, but I've got to tell you, my life is a whole lot easier in a whole number of ways now than it was before. And it's not simply because I associate with the body that I am now presenting as. It's because of society and the way that society has changed. So some of the things I've noticed. One, people assume that I know what I am talking about. I don't just mean men, I mean all people. In interviews, at work, with doctors, when I fix things around the house, when I talk about sports, there are so many subjects that people defer to the information that I may or may not claim to have. In interviews, an employer will ask a question. I will answer it succinctly. They will take my answer and move on to the next question with no follow-up. At work, when I sold technology, I wouldn't have to qualify where I got my information. I wouldn't have to show websites to back up the information that I had. I could just say, I know this thing, this is what you should buy, and they took my word for it. With doctors, I can go to the doctor now and say, I'm feeling pain, level 8, in this section of my body, it's been going on for this long, and the doctor will take it seriously and write a prescription or give some medical advice. None of this assuming that it's in my head or trying to treat a mental health concern when I have a physical problem, or vice versa. There's just this assumption that I know my body best and that the doctor needs to treat that quickly. When I express a concern about treatment that I've had or with a business that perhaps didn't do something that I needed them to do, perhaps they said they were going to do some sort of a promotion that they didn't follow through on. If I were to follow up with that, I would be given the benefit of the doubt almost every time. Hardware, my partner included, but all folks in my life have this assumption that I know how to fix floors, do plumbing, do yard work, etc., etc., etc. Sometimes I know those things and sometimes I don't. The assumption is that I do, and whether I know them or I don't know them, someone assuming that I know what I'm going to do is sometimes enough to allow me the capability of trying it out and doing it. So, I think there are a lot of women, non-binary people who don't pass as men, that face a large insecurity within themselves about their capabilities, what they're able to learn, because people assume that they can't. So another thing that I've noticed is that I make more money. Um, I some of that I will give credit to myself in that I have, mm, you know, done things with my career to help move ahead. Um, I work less hard and make more money. Point of fact. I do not have to do much to negotiate a better salary. I can say this is my price and it is granted to me. Um, People make space for me in conversations. So it used to be that if I had an opening in a conversation and interjected, I would have to speak loudly, I would have to speak quickly, and I would have to speak without error in order for what I was saying to be heard. Now, I can belabor the conversation. I can talk about something I don't actually know anything about. People make space for me to talk. There is an assumption now that I am physically strong and that I am physically capable. Before, it used to be that if I helped someone move or, we got something delivered, if I went to lift it, someone would immediately jump in and say, let me get that for you. Don't hurt yourself. You sure you got that? Whatever they would say. Now, not only do they not do that, but they assume that I will and that I should jump in. I kind of like it. There are probably trans men that don't like it, but it has been kind of cool. I have better clothes now. My clothes are better made. There are more pockets. They cost less. They are reliably the size that they claim to be. And shopping for men's clothes is a breeze compared to how it used to be. I hardly ever have to try things on, and my wallet is grateful for it. Along the lines of men's clothes, I can say that there's less social expectation. If I go out to work every day with, the same kind of pants and the same shoes, I can swap out my shirt. I might not even swap out my shirt. I might just swap out my tie, and that is sufficient. If I shower and swap out my tie, I'm doing well. Before I would have to, do my makeup, make sure that, my nylons had no rips or tears in them, make sure that my shoes were glowy, make sure that my dress hit in just the right areas, that I didn't have too much cleavage, but that I had a little bit. There were so many rules for how I could be in public. I had to go to the salon much more often. By the way, barbershops, so much better than salons. If you can go to a barbershop and they will let you do that, I encourage you to try out a barbershop. I am not expected to do emotional labor or clean. It used to be that if, for example, I went to a dinner, let's say it was with coworkers. If I went to a dinner with coworkers at someone's house, I would be expected at the end of the meal to get up, to gather the plates, to help pick up. At home, there was an assumption that I would do laundry, that I would, that I had all this energy to do these extra things. And as far as emotional labor, that I would be able to take men's grump or take their frustrations and react in a polite way to respond. That is no longer assumed of me. And I do what I can to make sure that I am remembering what it was like before, and that when I see women begin to step up and get stuff done, women get shit done, I try to participate in that and be a part of that, and to encourage the men around me to do the same, because men listen to men much more than they listen to women. Point of fact. And women listen to men more than they listen to women, unfortunately. Folks obey me. And not that I'm looking to be obeyed. At work, I am a manager, so there is a certain amount of, I need my people, my folks, my talent, my team to support the initiatives that I begin. But I try really hard to not take advantage of the fact that I can ask someone to do something now and reasonably expect that they'll do it. Before, if I asked someone to do something, I would have to qualify that or beg or just get up and do it myself. So that is notably different. I have safer interactions with men now than I did before, and I can assume that when they interact with me, most of the time it's because they like me or they are eager to work with me, and not because they're trying to objectify me or sexualize me. So often in work engagements, I was unsure about whether I would move up because I was unconsciously flirting with management, or whether it was because I actually had done a good job and earned the right to move up. I do think that I levied my sexual power in a number of ways within conversations, and I do not have that anymore, and I'm glad of it. It was exhausting, particularly for me as a survivor, to have to sort that out, and it gave me anxiety to wonder about whether someone genuinely liked me or whether they liked my body and what they thought that could offer them. I don't have to worry as much about walking at night or sitting at a bar or going down a dark alley. I don't have to have my keys out in front of me. I don't have to worry. I don't have long hair anymore, but I can remember thinking about how I needed to tuck my hair into my shirt so that men couldn't grab and pull my hair. And I don't always think that that was a legitimate fear, but certainly it was a taught fear. Certainly I had adults in my life tell me, cover your drink at the bar because you might get drugged, or I was certainly taught to be afraid of strange men. I am given more space while walking down the street. So now I can walk down the street, and if I approach people on the street, they will move out of the way. And I'm talking about even pre-COVID, obviously. Hopefully they're doing that now. They're giving me 6 feet distance. I hope that continues, by the way. I hope that I can continue to expect people to hang out 6 feet away. I love people, but I like my bubble when I'm walking down the street. And now I have this brand new amazing opportunity to lift women up when I am on the inside of misogynistic patriarchal conversations, and when I am on the inside of men interacting with other men and discussing women. I can use my privilege as leverage to shut a conversation down. And let me assure you that isn't as easy as you would think, because there is this assumption among men that you're going to protect each other's pride, that you all have the right to express your opinions, but that you're going to be hush-hush about how you feel about them. And it is definitely uncommon for men to speak up. I want to make it common, and I have been guilty of not speaking up soon enough before. but I won't allow that to happen anymore. When I'm in a conversation with other men, I hold a privilege that I need to really, really consider and settle in. And particularly where I have had 26 years of experience living in a body people assumed was female. Um, I have a perspective that many men don't have on what both sides of the coin can be like. So I hope that you will listen to what I spoke about today and consider what privileges you hold. Um, I went from hardly any privilege I felt like to a whole mess of it, and I held and continue to hold privilege over a bunch of other groups, people of color, and I want to lift people up. Trans women, I want to lift trans women up. They're more at risk than me. I want to make sure that I am being the best man that I can be. And part of being a man to me is being confident in uncomfortable spaces. So I encourage you to continue doing the good work, continue fighting the good fight, and to acknowledge the patriarchy and shoot it down. All right, take care. Bye.